this week on the MIC, I sit down with the founder of Koch Creatives. We talk all about creativity, infusing your Caribbean background into your work, and what it's like running a creative business as a mom of two. It is a really fun, inspiring, and insightful episode, and I'd love for you to tune in. Trigger warning, we do talk a bit about child loss. Since recording this episode, Koch Creatives has merged with a company called Malcolm's Choice. They now go by the name KWM, which stands for Keep Wealth Melanated. Welcome back on the MIC, mamas. We have a really great guest today. I want to introduce Anisha, the founder of Koch Creatives.
Awesome. You said it correctly.
I did?
You did. Sometimes people get it wrong.
What do people say? What do they call it?
They just stutter when they're saying it.
Oh.
Someone actually the other day said crotch creative.
Stop. Do you know what I think of when I think of the name? I think of I don't even know if this is a word that you guys use in Canada, but to koch is to chill.
That's exactly what I was about to say. It's a Jamaican term.
Yeah, it's a Jamaican.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it just means, just to chill, to,
exactly.
Just to koch.
Exactly.
Yeah. This
exactly.
is it. So that's what I thought of immediately.
You're right.
So that's the purpose of
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yes, I hit it on the nail on the head. So we just met, guys. We just met.
We did.
This is our first conversation. So I actually want to do a few little icebreaker questions so that we can just kind of get a feel for each other. And then we can get right into it. So this is all about creativity. You're a creative and your company is a creative company. And so let's talk creativity a bit. What is your favorite creative medium? Photography, videography, painting? What's your favorite medium?
Movement, moving my body.
So dance
and yoga.
Oh, okay.
Yoga is my favorite, I would say. It's my favorite way to koch.
I love that.
Favorite way to koch. And then I also love the arts. So visual arts. I love writing as well. Those are my top go-to.
I actually want to get into yoga. It just seems like I've tried it before twice, and it seems very physically taxing. It's harder than it looks.
And I think it also depends on who introduces you to yoga.
Yeah.
When I first got introduced to it, I was very turned off by it. It actually took me about 3 tries and 3 different people to introduce me to it to really fall in love with it.
Why is that?
It just depends on the person and how they, everyone teaches differently and everyone learns differently. So if you and the teacher don't really click, you might not receive what they're instructing you to do properly versus, someone else. So, yeah.
I actually really did enjoy it. I just find a challenge with remaining consistent when it comes to physical activity. So that's something I'm working on in my life. Getting better at that. My favorite creative medium would be singing.
Oh, you're a singer.
Yeah, yes. So I love that, and that is my favorite.
Awesome.
Yeah, without a doubt. Okay, next one. What was your favorite subject in school?
The art. I love the art. And it was sad because none of my friends never wanted to take art, but I always loved the art and I loved English.
Me too.
So those are my top 2 go-tos. It's just a way of expressing yourself.
Yeah, mine was definitely English as well, but drama and theater studies.
Drama as well,
was my top.
And scene.
Yeah. I'm definitely a theater girl, a thespian.
Don't kill me.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so let's talk about Koch Creatives. Tell me more about the work that you do. What is it? And what made you start it? All of that, all the things.
Sure. So like you said, koch, it is essentially a Jamaican term and it means to chill, to rest, to relax, to just find that moment of peace. And then I believe that when you koch, when you find that moment of peace, that's when you can then create the life that you want for yourself.
Oh, I love it.
So growing up, my house was always that place that my friends wanted to come over and chill. I never used to go to my friend's house. They would always come to my house and they would koch. And my dad would always say, how come your friends always just want to come and koch? And I'd be like, that's what happens when you create a safe space for people to feel comfortable. They never want to leave type of thing. And I've just always been a creative, wanting to create new things or just express myself. And I don't know, God just planted that seed from a young age. And the older I got, the more I learned about business, was the more I'm like, okay, Anisha, you need to take this up a notch. So Koch has two parts. It is a product-based business where we sell creative, artistic decor.
Oh, love it.
So artwork and also stationery
I've
items.
seen the greeting cards
Yeah,
and stuff
greeting
like that.
cards,
Yeah.
journals, planners, all those great stuff. And then the other part of it is more community-based. So depending on what I feel is needed in the community at that time, I then go in and create an event to kind of solve that problem.
Okay.
So that's kind of what that is. It's really a community of encouraging you to coach so that you can then create the life that you want for yourself, and essentially it'll just make the world a better place.
Yeah, I love that. And so, what's that been like? I mean, running that. How is it going? How has it been?
It's had its ups and its downs, of course. But it's really been a learning experience for me. And kind of just aligning myself with my purpose and just building some deep connections. But it has its like anything actually, it has its challenges, of course. But it has been rewarding, I would say. And it pushes me outside of my comfort zone,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Which I absolutely love. Even if it is fearful for a moment, I love that it pushes me outside of my comfort zone, because that is confirmation that I'm growing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think this is something a lot of people don't realize, that like when you're a creative person, you need challenges in order to stir up your creativity.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you run into like a creative block. It's like you don't know what to create, you don't know what to do, and that's because you're not being challenged. And so you need to run into these, these blockages. Like even with this podcast, right, I will tell you, I've had so many like challenges with it. It's really a difficult thing to put together.
I can imagine.
It's just so hard, and I find it so challenging, from like just, I don't know, production, booking guests, like just the whole thing of it, like just funding it, all of it, everything to do with it. But because it's so challenging, it's pushing my creativity, and it's kind of pulled me out of like this creative rut that I was in, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's just making me think, and it's making me try new things. It's like it's a new medium. I also find that creatives are often skilled in many different mediums.
Yeah, I agree.
Like we can dip in and out of this, that, and the other.
We're
like,
creative.
Yeah. like sometimes I'll be around people and I might be just humming a song, and they're like, "Oh, you can sing?" And I'm like, what part of I'm a creative don't you get? Are you not getting? Like, what's not clicking?
Absolutely.
So motherhood. Okay, so your little ones are 1 and 2.
Yeah, basically, you're 18 months and 3.
18 months and 3. Okay. And so what is that like, running a creative business with 2 little ones? Because girl, give me some tips, because I only have one little one. I've got a 3-year-old, and child.
Yeah, it is literally child is right. It is challenging. I need to shout out, hubby and my parents, because honestly, being a mother, you need to have a support system.
Facts.
It's crucial. It's crucial, not only for yourself, like your sanity, but for the child as well. Like they need that interaction with others. But aside from that, some things that I do to kind of find that balance is I write things down. I have a planner. Like you just have to be really intentional with your time.
Yeah.
And when you set deadlines, you have to just have that integrity with yourself.
Okay.
Because a lot of people, whether you're a mom or not, I find, let's say they'll set a deadline for themselves. That deadline comes and be like, oh, I'll just push it till next week.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to have that integrity with yourself when you say you're going to do something and you actually, you do it. And another thing that I do is I actually wake up in the middle of the night to do my creative work.
Oh, yes.
My downtime. Yes. When the babies are sleeping, that's really my downtime. So yeah, you just gotta, if you want something bad enough, you'll find,
You'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And like, I'm the same. I'm not a night person. I've always been a morning person.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never been a night owl, and I could never function at night, ever. Even now,
I know.
I have to get to bed at 10.
Girl, my bedtime is 8:00.
I have to get to bed at a decent hour.
No, absolutely.
I have my cup of tea, my biscuits. I watch a movie, and then I'm going to bed.
Done. Yeah.
I have to be in bed by 10. But I find that like once my little one's gone to bed, that is when I can focus and concentrate. In the day, it's like mum brain is going.
You're on the go.
Even when I'm at work, I'm still thinking like, oh, is she this? Is she that? Has she eaten yet? And whoever's looking after her, I'll be messaging her. Has she did it? Is she everything okay? It's not until she goes to bed that I can just like create.
Catch and create.
That's it.
That's it, sis.
That's it. Koch Creatives. I love that. Did you have Koch Creatives before your children were born?
Yeah.
And so what was that transition like?
Just kind of like a confirmation that I'm on the right track.
Oh.
Yeah. Confirmation that I was on the right track. And I had my babies during COVID. And I had pretty high risk pregnancies as well, where I was on bed and rest. So I was catching the whole time. So while I was doing that, it was kind of like, there's a lot of things that go through your mind when you first find out you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And then having your child.
Yeah.
And then seeing your child grow, right? And recently, I feel like I've had an epiphany or just a change in my whole life where it's like, what am I going to pass on to my child?
Okay. Yeah, that's deep. Yeah.
What am I going to pass on to my child? And it kind of ignited me like, okay, you really got to do this. Like, I don't knock anyone from having a 9 to 5. I think 9 to 5s are great, but I also believe your 9 to 5 should fund your dream, should fund your
purpose, your passion.
Absolutely. Right. Because you can't pass that 9 to 5 down to your children.
No, you can't.
You can't.
And I think that is a conversation. I think specifically, not even everyone can have access to their own side businesses or whatever it is that they want to do, but specifically creatives have this drive and this need to make something, like to create something.
Absolutely.
And it's not something that we can shut off.
It's not.
So even if we do have just like a regular job, there is always that thing that just says, I want to make something. I want to create something.
Seriously.
You can't not. And
Seriously.
it's like a God-given thing. They say like we're made in God's image and God is a creator.
Oh, absolutely.
That's like us. We just can't just sit there. We have to just make.
Yeah.
And I think even like, it's even symbolic of the fact that so you became a mom and you started a community called Mindful Moms.
Yes. Exactly.
I became a mom and I created Mums in Control.
Yeah.
Creatives can't help ourselves. We cannot help ourselves.
At all. Like, if I'm not creating for a period of time, I feel like I'm going through withdrawals. Like, creativity withdrawals.
Must create. I get what you mean. And it's like, it's this need to make something that we wish existed, or just to make something, period. Or maybe we've going through something in our life that has inspired something. And we're like, I need to just make that come alive.
Absolutely.
And so I love that your business is like, it gives you the flexibility to create whatever you feel like making. And I think that's something that is needed, because I mean, I made not mistake, but I did this thing where I kind of put myself in a bit of a box.
Okay.
With my creativity. At first, I have a marketing agency, which does allow me to be flexible, to work with different brands and to create different types of projects, but it still always was around marketing. And it took me a while to kind of break out of that. And now we do community development and other things like that I'm happy with.
Yeah.
But for a while there, I was like, I feel like I'm trapped a little bit.
You felt stuck.
Yeah, I was like, is this it?
I've learned that when you feel stuck, it's just like a confirmation that you're about to hit another level.
Yes, because it's growth time now.
Yep.
When you feel stuck, it means you gotta grow, and you need a challenge sometimes to shake it up. Yes, I love that. Yeah. So when business is slow, because creative entrepreneurs, every creative entrepreneur knows this feeling, when it's not being monetized, or when the cash flow isn't flowing. How have you motivated yourself in the past to continue and not to give up on it?
Prayer. Listen, the Lord is my best friend. I gotta shout him out.
Period. That's the theme.
Yeah.
That's the theme right now.
Yeah, I really gotta shout him out, because, you know, there have been some really dark days, some days where I'm like, yo, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, you know, but prayer has really been the source of my drive, and just, you know, reading the Bible sometimes, like Ephesians. He is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ever think or imagine. Like, that alone in itself is a motivating factor for me. Like, what I think for myself is not even as great as what he thinks for me.
Come on, it's true, and it's just like, and I find that when it is a seed, like when it's a God-given dream or vision, the provision is there too.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, sometimes it's a thing where maybe you can't make it happen now, but it will come to fruition.
Girl, you know that.
You know, like Ecclesiastes 3:11, he makes everything beautiful, and in its time. When it's time, you're gonna see something.
Exactly.
When it's ready, like when it's ready, and it might not be ready now, but it will be ready eventually, or you just keep chipping away at the dream. And you'll be ready. Exactly. And so you just keep chipping away at the dream. Keep chipping away and keep doing your little thing, and then eventually it will bloom. And then you'll start to see some results. Because I know that there's mums listening who are feeling guilty because the money is not coming in, but they don't want to give up, but they need to provide for their kids. And so it's like that dilemma of like, what do I do, God? Like, how do I keep my dream alive and continue chasing my dream without sacrificing, like, I need to provide for the children. And in that case, I guess sometimes the best way is really just to keep a job.
Yeah, exactly. Like what I said.
Keep a job.
Keep a job, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to always put 100% into your business. Maybe today you only put 1%, but you know, it accumulates. Right?
It's a little something. Every mickle make a
cool.
Every mickle make a cool. Just bit by bit.
Exactly.
Something, and put together, and then eventually.
Exactly.
It will come together. I like that a lot. And so, guilt. Mama guilt.
Yo, that's a real thing. Yo.
It's real. I didn't even know until, like, I thought like it was an exaggeration.
No, it's a real thing.
It's deep.
It's super deep. Like right now, so I opened a storefront, right? And it has taken a lot of my time. And like right now, I'm like, yo, I have 2 kids at home that,
girl,
you know, mom. Yo, it's a real thing.
It's real.
It's a super real thing. And then it's like when I'm with my children, and it's like, yo, I need to do something. I need to work on this. I need to work on that. Yeah, like I want to put you through this, and this, and this. You know what? That's going to take money. That's going to take, right? I need to go then and work. So it's like,
or you feel like, I feel like there's this dilemma that a lot of moms have where it's like, when you're not with your kids, you're thinking to yourself, oh man, I'm really abandoning my dreams, or I'm not, you know, I'm letting go of like my passions. I'm not working towards, you know, this thing, or I'm allowing motherhood to become my full identity and all of this stuff.
But you got to be careful, because it really can.
And then when you're not with the kids and you're working towards it, you think, oh man, am I a terrible mom? Yeah. I should be home with the children. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And I have realized that you have to just give yourself grace.
Oh, absolutely. Grace. And just be mindful of your time. Like, I think it's all about balance.
Yeah.
Right? And once you find that balance.
I was telling my friend this morning, we were talking about mom guilt, the very same thing. And she was just saying that, you know, there are times where when you're working, sometimes you might have to miss a recital or two when you're pushing your dreams. And I'm like, you don't have to. I feel like there's a way to figure out where you don't have to miss the recitals. For example, there's a way for you to do it so that you don't miss the recitals and you also don't neglect yourself and self-care. For example, maybe I'm going to the bake sale on Saturday for the kids, but it doesn't mean I have to bake the cookies from scratch. I can go buy the cookies or make somebody else bake the cookies for me. I'm going to the bake sale, but it doesn't mean I have to bake the cookies because I don't have time. And, you know, when I'm at the bake sale, I can even be I can be vlogging so that I'm still keeping up with my branding. I'm keeping up with my business. And then when the bake sale is done, I save myself a cookie so that I can sit down and coach with a cookie.
Like what you did there.
Yeah, with the cookie and my hot chocolate, and I can watch a film, and that's my self-care. And I found a way to figure it out that I can be there for my child. I can still do little bits for my business, and I can still take care of myself.
Yeah, it's really just killing two birds with one stone.
Yes. And try and make it, and you have to be over organized. So like what you were saying before about making sure that you plan and have your planner and set deadlines for yourself and stick to them.
Exactly.
It really is about being very organized with yourself and just being
very
like
intentional.
This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm planning ahead so that when the time comes, you're not feeling overwhelmed or you're not chasing your tail.
Yeah, absolutely. There's actually a book that I read last year or year before that kind of just changed my whole life for the good. It's called Atomic Habits.
Ooh, I've never heard of this one.
Oh, girl, you got to read that book.
I have never heard of this book. Okay, tell me.
So it's just about tracking your habits. Your day-to-day is basically just your habits. And one of the things he talks about is buying back time.
Ooh.
So, for example, meal prepping is buying back time. Right?
Okay.
Because now you don't have to think every day. Just like the uniforms we were just talking about.
Yeah.
You don't have to think and waste 20 minutes. Oh, what am I going to wear? What am I going to wear? No, you plan ahead.
Yes.
And you buy back that time. So yeah, that's just something that popped into my head. You just have to have a good habit. You got to get rid of the old habits and develop new ones. And you also have to understand your triggers. Like what makes you fall back into you know, those bad routines.
Yeah. And what is it what causes me to be disorganized? What is the thing that can kind of, so what's an example of that?
For example, like scrolling on Instagram.
Okay.
That's a terrible habit.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can, or TikTok, you completely forget the time. So setting an alarm would be understanding the trigger. Like I know once I go on TikTok, I might stay there for like a whole hour and waste that hour. So in that case, I'm going to prevent that from happening by setting an alarm in my phone so that when it goes off, it's like, oh, time's up, back to reality.
Yes.
Type of thing.
Okay,
right?
cool. And making sure like understanding the domino effect behind certain things. So for example, if I don't do, so I can plan out my outfits for the week. Which is how I like to live because my weeks are busy. So every day I've got something to do. Because my life is busy, I have to plan my outfits ahead. And because I'm plus size as well, and it's a new body that I'm in, right? This is a new body, and I don't understand it like I knew my old one.
Yes.
So I need to make sure that I'm organized. I know what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
I've tried it on. I've done the mirror test.
Yeah.
All the angles. I've even done
and
the
that's
photo
buying
test.
back time.
Yes. Plan out all the outfits, so that I know what I'm wearing throughout the week, and I know that it's a fail-safe. I've tried it.
There you go.
Tried and true.
Exactly.
But that means I have to make sure I do the laundry on time. Otherwise,
it's literally a whole
ruin the whole thing.
Exactly.
The whole domino effect. So it's like little things like that.
Yep.
Okay. That is actually a very good tip, you know. That is a time management tip.
It is. It really is.
Because I feel like mums, it's like, I don't know, it's like a battle against time. It's mum versus time. And I don't even know how you do it with 2 children.
Listen.
And they're 2 under 2 or 2 under 3.
Yeah, they're.
That's.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when one stop bar, the next one start bar.
Listen. Exactly. And now like they have mouth, like they're ganging up on me, and I'm like, who is you?
It's true. Oh my gosh. And they're probably just like tearing up the house.
Girl, you don't even want to see. You don't even want to see.
So how do you have a space in your home where it's just your no kids allowed
I
kind of
thought I
zone.
did.
No,
No.
because that's
Like,
one
what
thing
is
about kids
that?
is they will test.
Yo.
They will test your
Even
privacy.
the toilet, like sometimes I'm like, okay, let me just hide on the toilet for.
No, they'll find you.
No,
What you
they're,
doing, mommy?
wait,
Like, come in.
honestly, you see the fingers crawling underneath the doors. Mommy.
They come into it. I feel like it's a dream for me. I know in our next house we're gonna have this. Right now our apartment's small, but when we move, our next home will be big enough for us to have like a kid-free zone, like a room where they must not end up. Like, we want a creative space because my husband's a creative too.
Okay.
And we just want an office for us, a
Yeah,
studio
you better
where we
put a
can
lock
just
on that.
yeah, where it's just no toys, no kids.
Yep.
It's just we can lock ourselves in there and do what we
and
gotta
eat
do.
snacks and not have to share.
Not have to share my whole. I'm gonna have a drawer of all my things.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna have a mini fridge in there for my grapes and my little apple slices, and it's my apple slices.
Exactly. It's a real thing, man.
Yeah, because you know, so I find like my husband, like he records he does YouTube, right? He records his YouTube videos in the middle of the night, like at 2 a.m. when all of us are sleeping, because it's like, when can I gotta record my videos, but the house is just like a zoo.
Yeah,
it's like
it's
a
chaotic.
zoo.
It's a zoo. It's absolutely a zoo.
So I feel like it would be good. It's a dream for me actually, just to have a creative space in the home where it's just like I can go in there and just get what I need to do done, play my music, you know, and just have the diffuser going with the eucalyptus oil and just mix stuff.
Absolutely. It was just yesterday I was checking the songs that I've listened to this past year.
Oh yeah, you did the Spotify Wrapped.
Ask me what was number one.
What?
Coco Melon.
Oh my God, why? Not even seeping into your Spotify too. Come on.
I was ashamed for myself.
Oh man, but that's your life right now though, because they're young. But
It's
as
my
the
life.
kids grow, and that's why sometimes I have like older moms on this pod. And I love those episodes too, because I get to hear like what my life will be like when it's all said and done. Because you know, sometimes their kids are grown and I'm just like, oh, must be nice.
Right? Retirement can't come too soon.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. So right now, because our little ones are young, it's like a different experience to when they will like, you know, when they're grown and out of the house, and then we can just do what we need to, you know, we can backtrack. So how's marriage?
Marriage is great, to be honest. Better. I don't know if this is bad to say, but better than I expected.
That's not bad to say.
Okay. So yeah, marriage has been good. And it's nice to have a supportive partner.
Yeah.
That drives you and you drive them and challenges you and so forth. Yeah, I really have no complaints about marriage.
I feel like that's a real life hack.
But I mean,
having a supportive partner.
Ask me in 10 years, because apparently I'm still in quote unquote honeymoon.
We are.
Yeah, honeymoon phase.
Yeah, we're still newlyweds because we've both been married 3 years. So we're still newlyweds. It's like, this is early stages.
Yeah.
We haven't even hit like the
They say 7 years is when you really get
7-year itch.
Yeah.
How long have you been with your husband? Like before marriage?
4 years.
So you got married after one?
Yeah, we got married.
Oh, yes, so that is the honeymoon. Oh,
Yeah,
girl,
we're
yes.
still-
Yeah, you
we're
still
still
enjoying life.
We're still enjoying life.
Okay, so my husband and I have been together for 8 years.
Okay.
And married for 3. But I feel like we've been through so much just even in that short time. I don't know if 8 years is a short time, but like moving country a few times now. Obviously the baby, our businesses that we run, like we've done a lot, and we were long distance for 4 years.
Okay. And I'm long distance right now.
Really?
Yeah.
So where is your husband living?
In Nigeria.
Oh wow.
So
But that means you get someone to you get somewhere to travel often.
Yeah, we were just in Nigeria in December actually.
Okay.
I was there with the kids and it was nice.
So long distance marriage isn't hard.
I mean, of course I miss him.
Yeah.
But I trust that God is doing what he's doing and that there's a reason why we're not together right now. I think he is making me better and making him better so that when, you know, we reunite, we are our best selves for each other, right? So
I love that. I know that the long distance part for us was was challenging. Like from London to Toronto was very, very hard. And even during my pregnancy, I did most of that pregnancy alone because he was here, he was in Canada and I was in the UK still. That was really tough.
Yeah.
But once you get through on the other side, you are strengthened.
Absolutely.
So I love that for you.
Absolutely.
And I think even just having your babies during the pandemic, because like I think that's the perfect time to have kids, you know, because nothing's going on, nothing's happening. It's like a Sunday. It's like a long Sunday.
Absolutely. It was nice to have pandemic babies. Absolutely. And like what you said, like being pregnant alone it's a lot. It really is a lot. And I actually just lost my third.
Oh no.
And listen, motherhood, man.
Girl, I'm sorry. Do you find, this is something I wanted to talk about actually. Do you find, that with child loss, it's like not, do you find that you don't have the space to talk about it? Do you ever feel like when you bring it up that people are kind of, dismissive or don't want to discuss it?
I feel like they're intrigued. I feel that it happens more often than, like, my story is just my story, but it happens more often than I would have even thought.
Yeah.
But
1 in 5.
Yeah, it happens quite often.
Yes.
But I also feel like that conversation is not happening, or like it's taboo to have that conversation. And myself, I talk about it pretty openly. Like, this is the first time we're meeting and I just told you that. But I find that it's like, I don't know, like people hang on to that story, and I think it needs to be shared. Like, we need to talk about this.
We do need to talk about it. I feel like I can understand why it's difficult to talk about.
Absolutely.
But the more we talk about it, the less mothers will feel alone when it does.
Exactly.
If it does happen to them. Like, obviously we don't wish that on anybody, but it happens often. It happens very commonly, and people need to feel like they're not alone.
Exactly.
And that they can talk about it, that there is space for the discussion to be had. And one thing that I think that is overlooked constantly is how hard it can be to go back to work, to go back to life, go back to your routine after experiencing child loss.
No, absolutely.
Because people feel like, oh, well, there's no baby, so there's nothing for you to do. Like, when you just have a baby, people understand that you need to look after the child, you need to heal, people understand that you've got like a big responsibility now, and so they give you that time to kind of recuperate before you get back to work. But when you lose the child, there is no baby, so people think, oh, well, you can just get back to life, when it's like, no, I need time.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And even like as the mother that loses the child, like I remember like my breasts started to produce the milk.
Exactly.
And it's like, but there's no baby.
There's no baby. But but your body is still doing what it's doing. Yeah. Lest we forget, you still bleed. You still have to heal. Exactly. All of those things still have to happen, and you have to process grief.
Yeah. And you have other children.
To take care of. So it's like, I still need maternity leave. I still need my mat leave.
No, seriously, I still need that time.
Yeah.
I really still need that time.
Yeah, and I think that's not, acknowledged. What was that like, kind of going back into running your business and stuff after all of that? I guess you're still processing.
I'm still processing it, and I also feel like that was earlier I said like I had gone through something that kind of ignited me to really just get back into my business. But when I was in the hospital and I lost my son, I was just thinking, thankfully nothing happened to me, but I could have lost my life. Right?
This is something else. Yeah,
right? I could have lost my life. And I had that moment was, if I lost my life right now, what would I have been able to give my children?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So a lot goes, like mentally, a lot goes through your mind when you lose a child. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about him.
Yeah.
But we move. Right? So, yeah.
It's okay. These are feelings that are valid.
Yeah.
And important.
Yeah.
And so you do have space.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
you have space for that right now.
Yeah, like you said, it's important to have these conversations. Thank you. It's important to have these conversations because this is just my story, right? And I know people that have gone through similar experiences or even worse experiences.
Yeah.
Right? So,
But just because, like, I think that's a good point. But just because other people might have gone through quote unquote worse experiences, that doesn't invalidate
absolutely
yours.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And it's like, you know, when people say, oh, there are people starving in Africa. Well, I'm still hungry.
Right.
I'm still hungry, Becky.
I'm so hungry.
Becky,
here.
I still want my lunch.
Honestly.
Okay? And I'm sorry to those kids in Africa.
Right?
But me, no. I still need my food too.
I think so too.
And
yeah.
I think that is worth,
absolutely,
you know, taking note of. Just because other people might have had it quote unquote worse. And plus, what's worse? Because everyone's threshold and tolerance for pain is very different.
That's very true. That's very true.
So for you, this little, if I tap my knee, to you that might not hurt at all. But if I did that to my little one, she'd probably cry.
Absolutely.
Because she can't take that that type of pain.
Yeah.
And so everybody is different and everyone's built different. And everyone is mentally and emotionally prepared for different things. So, I mean, for you going through it, maybe not even feeling like you had the space to just offload. Because you've got a business to run.
I have a business to
run.
You've
got kids to take care of.
Absolutely.
You're holding everything together. You're holding yourself together. So when do you get time to just
let it go?
Release and just absolutely.
Ball. I found that so personally the way I function is I give myself a deadline. I'm really passionate about deadlines, and after I lost my son, I'm like, okay, I'm giving myself a month to feel bad for myself, essentially. But I believe that you can't get stuck in your sadness because that can take over your life. So after I hit that month, I'm like, okay, Anisha, this happened to you. It's very unfortunate, but you got to keep it moving, right? Life is a journey, and you do
have to push yourself to continue. But there is also no timeline on grief.
No, absolutely. And it shows up differently.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Some days I'm talking about this and I won't bust a tear. But today,
sometimes you just feel it.
You just feel it, and I don't judge myself for feeling how I feel in certain days. I just go with it, and it's interesting how it shows up on a daily for me, right? It's a journey, and I don't think you get over losing someone. You just learn how to live with it.
Yes, that's what they say, isn't it? That it doesn't get lighter, but you get stronger.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
and despite what happened, I honestly thank God for what he did in my life. Like, he really showed me love, unconditional love. And he strengthened me in ways that I didn't even know I need strengthening. And now I'm more ignited, more ambitious, or more determined to build, to grow, to love. Right. So.
And then I guess that will show up also in the creativity. It will show up in the work, and it gives us more like, these are scars and stories and layers that we can just kind of like pour into the things that we're making and creating.
Absolutely.
And that just makes everything more, I guess, more beautiful in the long run too. It's like part of our story. We have stuff to talk about and stuff to you gotta write a book one day. Put it all in a book, or like a graphic novel. You know, like nice. You know, like you know them ones. You know the type. To just display, like, just your story. Absolutely. And documenting our stories. And that's another thing about being a creative and being an artist, is that we make things and that we have stuff to show. We have stuff to show for our life, and it's not just like, this is something I made during this time of my life, or this is what I made during this time of my life, and this is my art piece from blah, blah, blah. And, you know, like stuff like that, things that we can go back and look at, whether it's photography, video, whether it's a project that we did or an event that we hosted.
Absolutely.
Something that what didn't exist, but we made it exist.
Yeah, because memories don't live like people do.
Oh.
They don't.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard that one before.
Really?
No.
Yeah, they don't live like people
Break
do.
that one for me.
Memories don't live like people do, so you got to capture the moment, right? People die every day, but those memories live on forever.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your story and sharing your, you know, experiences. Koch Creatives is doing great work. So for those of you at home, make sure you go and look up. Do you want to tell them Koch Creatives? That's with 2 Ks.
And if you're in Etobicoke, we just opened up a storefront at Woodbine Mall. So you can come and check us out. We collaborated with another business called Malcolm's Choice. So you can come Koch with Malcolm. And visit our websites, reach out to completely...
Your mind just went blank.
Just Patrice. Completely went blank for a second. And she can tell you all about how to find me.
Yes.
But I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. This has been an honor, a wonderful day for me to end, a wonderful way for me to end my day.
Awesome.
I mean, it's my cozy episode, my cozy socks and my Tim Hortons.
Don't
because,
kill me.
you know, I just wanted to just unwind, and this has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much. And you guys check back next week for another important episode. Bye.
Bye.